Hi, friends. Ooh. All right. Well, what's going on, everybody? Hello, hello. Good Shabbos. Somehow, I think this might not be exactly what I want to screen share, but I think it might be close enough. So, welcome, angels. Welcome, any angels who might be in this room that I can't see. Welcome, all the angels all around you. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Sharet, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech Malachi Hamelachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Sharet, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech Malachi Hamelachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon mi melech malachi hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu nila shalom malachi shalom malachi elyon mi melech malachi hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu shiftachem l'shalom malachi shalom malachi elyon mi melech malachi hamelachim Kadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon mi melech, Malachei Hamelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yalalai, 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 Shabbat Shalom. You perhaps have noticed that I'm not in my usual spot, and that's because we're doing Shabbat dinner somewhere, and so I'm a wandering Jew. And I'm so happy to be here with you tonight, wherever you are. Please say Shabbat Shalom, and where are you tuning in from in the chat tonight, or honestly, whenever you're watching this, because this will be on the internet for the rest of time. So how are you encountering this Shabbat this evening, November 14th, 2025? All right, so in a moment, I'm going to walk over here to these candles and light them. And whenever I do, I always say to my kids, who should we send light and love to tonight? And so this is actually a moment, in a Friday night service, we would do this at Hashkivenu. At a Saturday morning service, we would do this in Misha Berach, the prayer for healing. I want to, as we light candles, think about all of the people in our lives right now, in our city, in our country, in our world, that you want to send love and light to. So just take a moment, think about who you're praying for, who needs a little bit of a boost right now. And if you want to put their name in the chat, you are thinking about them. You want to hold them in your heart tonight. You are praying for them. Feel free to do that. Otherwise, honestly, say their name out loud just in the space of your own home. And we're going to light these candles. If there are any children nearby who would like to be blessed, please come forth. I do my best. We'll see. Doubtful. All right. I want to invite you to just, before we say the blessing, take a moment to just come to stillness, And exhale. Don't blow out those candles though. And just let your heart beat a little bit slower. Let your breath be a little bit slower. Notice ambient sounds in the room or in my room here. The sound of the wind blowing through the trees. Oh wait, that's a kid whistling.
It's me!
I believe it. All right, so we're going to just say the blessing now for lighting candles.
I'm not just saying.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. I'm sending love and light to my parents, to Henry's parents, to everybody I know who I don't need to say their names here, but who I know needs a prayer tonight. We can say Amen. All right, let's raise a glass here and make Kiddush. Bless this moment and take a moment now to actually also think after this week, just like God, on the seventh day, after 6 days of creating, and after every day looking at what God had done and saying, it's not so bad. It's actually good. It's Tov. I want to invite you to look back on the week, or if that's too long a period of time, just on today, this Friday, this Yom HaShishi, to think what actually worked? What made me happy? What made me smile? I know there are so many things that can, make us want to tear our hair out, make us want to frown, make us want to scream. And we spend our week screaming. Shabbat is the time to take a deep breath and actually appreciate the good. And it's not like some kind of, luxury or some kind of privilege that, we should feel bad about. This is the way that we stay sane. This is the holy ratio of 1 to 7. Shabbat and the whole rest of the week. We have the whole rest of the week to fix and to change. And on this day, we hold sacred what is and what is good. So go ahead, take a moment, share with me and share with each other what is good, what is working for you this week. And we will say Kiddush together here. Now I am hearing knocking in the background, which feels like maybe a kid saying, "Pay attention to me." If that kid who wants to be paid attention to wants to come do Kiddush with me, that'd be so awesome.
Hi.
All right, ready?
I can whistle.
All right, okay, awesome.
Why are there sharks there? Oh, wait, no, those are dogs.
Judah,
Oh, wait, no, those
ready?
Are
Yom HaShishi. Oh, Vayehi Erev, Vayehi Boker, Yom HaShishi. Vayechulu Hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam. Vayechal Elohim b'yom hashvi'i melachto asher asa. Vayishbot b'yom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i v'yikadesh oto. Ki bo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. All right, so when I say Savri, you say L'chaim. Savri Chaverai.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei priha. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchelanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lamikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta im kol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Yahoo.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Hey, Mommy.
That says no available windows.
All right. But wait, hang on. Before you leave, sweetheart, what if I blessed you? Come here. All right. So for everybody who's also watching right now, this is a blessing for you. So, the way when somebody's leading a blessing, they can fulfill the blessing for you if they have you in mind as they say it. So for everybody who's with us tonight, I have you in mind as I'm putting my hands on my son's head and sending this blessing out to you as well. And you, in the meantime, can think about all the people that you love and you want to give this blessing to and send this blessing to.
I'm almost 8.5, and I have a computer with stickers on it, but I'm not allowed to put stickers directly on it because it's my school computer. So I have to put a piece of paper on it before I put the stickers on, and I have a lot of stickers. I have over 10.
Okay.
A bunch of them are sports, and a bunch of them are Harry Potter, and a bunch of them are random.
Thank you so much for that public service announcement, Judah.
Can I press something?
No.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to give you a blessing now, okay?
Okay.
All right. Yesimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'chemenashe. Yisimech Elohim k'Sara Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May you be like all of our ancestors. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and guard you and keep you safe and healthy. May God's light always shine on you and may life be kind to you. May you see the face of God in others and may they see it in you. May you be a peacemaker and may peace follow you all the days of your life. And we can say,
Amen.
Amen.
Retro T
Can I
is
have-
what this clip thingy says.
Thank you. All right. Yasher Koach Judah, you can go do whatever you want to do.
Oh yeah, so I can make a mess around this house.
No, you may not make a mess around this
Is
house.
this the attic?
No, it's not, Judah.
Where is the attic?
All right. I always want to like share, a song or something since this isn't like a full on service. I always want to share a little tune that, one might do around the Friday night table because maybe that's where I'm sitting right now on your Friday night table or on your phone on your table. And so, all right, the next tune I want to play is in fact usually sung after a meal. It's called Tzur Mishelo Achalnu, to the rock who provided all the sustenance we ate. And, maybe you had a snack earlier. Maybe it's a good time now to pop something in your mouth and enjoy it. And this is a song actually that if one doesn't say Birkat Hamazon, if one doesn't say the blessing after a meal, this can substitute for it, according to some traditions. So here we go. And you might recognize the tune from stuff we've done on Friday nights here and there. And so here are all the words so you can see them. Feel free to join me here. It's basically just a long song praising God for putting all the incredible things into the world that there are here in the world for us to enjoy. Tzur mishelo achalnu, baruchu emunai, savanu vehotarnu, ki dvar Adonai. Tzur mishelo achalnu, baruchu emunai, savanu vehotarnu, ki dvar Adonai. Hazanet olamo roenu avinu, achalnu elachmo veyeno shatinu. Inno deli shmo and halelo befinu, amarnu ve'anenu, in kadosh kadonai, tzor mishelo achalnu, baruchu emunai, savanu vehotarnu, ki dvar Adonai, b'shir v'chol toda nevarech le'Eloheinu, al eretz chemda tova, sheninchil lavotenu, mazon v'tzeida, he's bi'alin afshenu, chazdo gavar aleinu, ve'emet Adonai, tzor mishelo achalnu, baruchu emunai. Adonai, sabanu vehotarnu, kidvar Adonai, rachem b'chazdecha, alamcha tzorenu, al Tzion mishkan, gvodecha, zavol v'tifartenu, ben David avdecha, yavo v'yigalenu, ruach ha'apenu, Mashiach Adonai, tzor mishelo achanu, baruch hu Adonai, sabanu vehotarnu, kidvar Adonai, yibaneh hamikdash, shir Tzion timale, v'shana shir shir chadash, uvir na na'ale, harachamana nikdash, yitbarach vayitale, al kos yayin male, kebirkat Adonai, tzor mishelo achanu, baruch hu Adonai, sabanu vehotarnu, kidvar Adonai, tzor mishelo achanu, baruch hu Adonai, sabanu vehotarnu, kidvar Adonai. All right, I feel like we're kind of sufficiently warmed up here. You ready to do a little Torah learning? I'm ready to do a little Torah learning. All right. Okay. Let me take this off here. All right. And if I'm being honest, I want to sit down. Is that okay? Can I sit down? All right. I will say, as I'm talking with you, I know there are a couple of you here. I ask Will, who is hosting this live stream, he is invisible, but I always ask him to send me like, who's here with us tonight? Who put their name in the chat? So to everybody who is here, I know that you're here. I'm not going to say all your names, but I know that you're here. And I'm glad that you're here. And I will say, hey, Judah, the people loved your whistling. He says thank you. Okay, so I want to just acknowledge that like there is actually a little bit of back and forth here, even though it feels so weird and disconnected that like you're all out there and I'm here and we can't actually talk. I know you're there and I love that you're there. And so I'm really like, to those of you who have already put your name in the chat, like I'm talking to you. Okay, so on my second date with my now husband, Henry, he and I stood in line at Jimmy John's and we bonded over our shared distaste for mayonnaise. And he explained that actually the category of foods that he hates includes all things that have a mayonnaise-like consistency, a creamy consistency. And even as he said it, it was like he wanted to vomit, including yogurt. He hates the smell. He hates the way it feels. He doesn't want to look at it or even touch it or think about it. So that was on our second date. We established this. 8 years later, we are married, and it becomes clear that one of our children will only eat yogurt for breakfast. Not from the container, but transferred from the container to a special bowl, the way that you like scoop cat food out of the can into the dish, you know? And not only that, she needs to like take an allergy medication that we have to dissolve in water that then needs to be mixed into the yogurt, okay? And so Henry, not because he is a saint, but because he loves his child, has scooped yogurt out of the container and put it in the bowl and mixed it with the allergy medication, somehow managing not to puke every single day for the past 4 years. I know, impressive, right? So I share that story because there is a word that is used for the first time in this week's Torah portion to describe a relationship. Maybe the most important relationship and word and concept in the Jewish lexicon. I've already said it in the paragraph above. I wonder if you have any guesses what this word that appears, it's actually appearing for the second time in the Torah, but for the first time describing the relationship between two consenting adults. The word's not yogurt. The word is love. Adam and Eve, not in love, or at least not as far as we know in the Torah. Abraham and Sarah. They had an epic relationship, but the word love does not appear in the Torah to describe it. We have seen the word love appear in one other place, and it refers to parental love. But this week, for the first time, we see love between grown-ups. The text says, "And Isaac brought Rebekah into the tent that had been his mother's, and he loved her." V'yaveha. So the commentary writers over the years have paid a lot of attention to Isaac and Rebekah's love. And when you get into it, it is arguably a simple love for Isaac and a complicated one for Rebekah. But I wanted to take the opportunity to widen the lens and explore what is unique about how Jewish tradition understands love. Because it's not just one thing, and it is a central concept appearing hundreds of times after this point in the Torah, throughout our liturgy, throughout our commentaries. And like you probably know, Greek has multiple different words to convey different kinds of love. So does Hebrew, many of which you can hear, for example, in a Jewish wedding ceremony. But we are introduced to one word today that is the most well-known, and this is the rabbit hole I want to go down today and explore. So the word is, you can repeat after me on your end of the screen, ahava. Ahava. If we understand what the Torah means when it says ahava, I think we understand the most important thing we need to know about Judaism. Or in the words of Rabbi Shai Held, Judaism is all about love. He wrote a book. I don't have it here, but if I did, I'd hold it up. Judaism is about love. So famously, the Torah does not give us mitzvot, does not give us spiritual work to do that we would do anyway on our own. So for example, in the Torah, there's not a commandment for a parent to love their child or for children to love their parents. Generally, this doesn't need to be taught or even said as a commandment because it is overwhelmingly instinctive. It's Henry with the yogurt and any number of even more inconvenient, disgusting things that parents don't need to be told to do for their kids because it's just inherent in the relationship. It's what love looks like, right? And of course, there are exceptional circumstances, right? In cases of, God forbid, like abuse or mental illness, where it makes that love a lot more complicated and even painful. But even in those cases, it's not like you need the reminder to love. You might need the reminder to behave with respect or with self-protection. I mean, respect is, by the way, actually the fifth commandment on the tablets given to children because it's not always instinctive to respect your parents. Love, however, is presumed. So then, if the Torah is about love, what kind of love does need reminding? If you're God writing the Torah, or if you are, scribes and sages writing the Torah, what kind of love do you want to tell the Jewish people to practice? A, because it is important in creating a holy society, and B, because it is not intuitive, because you would not necessarily do it on your own. I'm genuinely curious. If you want to put answers in the chat, I'd love to hear them. I will go on though. Maimonides, otherwise known as the Rambam, the great medieval Spanish philosopher. So he identified a few kinds of ahava, love, that form the backbone of the Jewish relationship, of a relationship with Jewish tradition. And importantly, in no case is love about a feeling you have. Love is not a feeling as far as the Torah is concerned. Love is action. Love requires work in the form of mitzvot in order to really do it and in order to really understand it. And so the first kind of love that Maimonides raises up and tells us to practice is love of God. No big shocker. Ahavat Hashem. And this is not like he invented this idea. This can be drawn straight from the commandment in Deuteronomy 6, right after the Shema, that says, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, and you will love the Lord your God with all your mind, with all your heart, with all your strength. About which anyone with a little emotional intelligence, honestly, would have to ask, how can the Torah command a feeling? right? You couldn't just be told to love a person, a stranger, right? Love this person you don't know. So how can you love a formless, invisible being beyond comprehension? But that's the point. It's not about a feeling. It's about actions you take. So what are some of those actions you can take to demonstrate love for your creator? Maimonides has some ideas. Go touch grass. Go contemplate nature. Do what Moses does at the burning bush. Stop and stare. Spend time really trying to understand the inner workings of nature. Observe the cycle of the seasons and wonder, how do these leaves fall off the trees and how do they know when to grow back in spring? Observe the working of the human body and wonder, how does my body know how to breathe without me telling it to? These are the marvels that if you did not stop and meditate and pay attention, you might take these things for granted. You might not even see, even though they are right in front of you or happening to you or in your very body. And so Rambam says, when a person spends this kind of time and attention coming to know nature in this way, it is impossible not to be swept off your feet in love with the designer who made all of it. And Rambam compares this to the kind of obsession a person has who is madly in love with another person, like Isaac with Rebekah. Except it's not another person. It's an obsession with God and all of the incredible miracles swirling around us and in us in every moment, right? Like Albert Einstein said, either you believe that nothing is a miracle or you believe everything is a miracle. So Judaism lives in the world of everything is a miracle. Hence all the blessings that Jews have for nature. We said some of them, or we will say some of them, tomorrow morning as we daven. A blessing for light. In the evening service, we have a blessing for darkness. We have a blessing for the transition between light and darkness, right? We have a blessing for rainbows, a blessing for seeing the ocean, a blessing for every kind of food, whether it grew on a tree or out of the ground, and they're different blessings to help you pay attention and to appreciate the unique miracle that each of these things is, right? There is a blessing for after you go to the bathroom. All of these are opportunities to just contemplate the extraordinariness that any of this even exists and is possible. And so this kind of holistic, full body love, you can call it for God, you can call it for the great mystery, whatever you want to call it. It's not a nice to have. This is a mitzvah. This is a commandment in the Torah. And for Maimonides, this was the first and most important commandment. He began his seminal work of Jewish law, the Mishnah Torah, with a chapter called Sefer Ahava, the book of love, talking about exactly this kind of love and exactly this way of coming to know the Creator. So here's the deal. There's a lot of laughing in the background here, and I'm a little worried that maybe it's interfering with you being able to hear me. Could somebody just tell me if it is or if it's okay? Because I can get up and close the door. But I'm not going to if it's okay. You're hearing me fine. Thank you. Okay. All right. So about what I just described. On a scale of 1 to 5, think about the grade you would give yourself for the mitzvah that I just mentioned. Right? One being, I have not touched grass or marveled in radical amazement at anything in years. And 5 being, I am literally so God intoxicated and radically amazed all the time, it is hard to walk straight. Okay, put your numbers in the chat. I am genuinely curious. I think I am a 3.1. I would like to be a 4. I think 5 is like a little much. I'd like to be a 4. I don't think I'm there. Okay? This is a great moment for, I would say, personal spiritual accountability and an invitation for us to use this Shabbat to slow down and really, really like sink into the time, move more slowly, touch grass, right? Really work that divine muscle. It's there for us once a week. Okay, but we're not done because we haven't even gotten to the kind of love that Rabbi Akiva says is the most important. We've talked about Maimonides, but Rabbi Akiva says, what's the most important mitzvah in the Torah? Ve'ahavta l'reyecha kamocha, and you will love your neighbor as you love yourself, and its companion, ve'ahavta et hager, you will love the stranger. So it's important to know your neighbor has generally, historically been understood as your fellow Jew, and the stranger has generally been understood throughout Jewish history as non-Jews in your world, specifically the most vulnerable in your midst. And both are commandments in the Torah. Love your neighbor as yourself, love the stranger, and they are two separate commandments. Why are there two separate commandments? I found myself wondering this week. Why not just say, love other people the way you want to be loved. Treat other people the way you want to be treated, whether your people or other people. This is a good discussion question, but unfortunately the medium does not allow us to really discuss, so I will muse aloud. Sometimes your literal neighbors, the people you have to live with, meaning not your immediate family, but the people on your street, in your building.
Can you carry my stuff downstairs?
Yeah, no problem, but I'm doing stuff right now. So sometimes these people, like who don't live in your house, but who live adjacent to you, like either in the same apartment building or on either side in houses, right? These are the people who shovel snow onto your driveway or onto your sidewalk, or who play thumping techno music at 4 a.m., or who have a dog that barks all day and all night. The people you live near, your neighbors, are sometimes the hardest ones to love, right? Because you're in proximity to them. You know their foibles, their challenges, the things that make them a little hard to love. They make your life challenging sometimes. So a mitzvah about generically loving people won't cut it, because it's a very different relationship. You know, the stranger who lives far away from the person who lives right next door to you. Love your neighbor as yourself. So you have to be specific. And in our case, the neighbor has meant Jew. So I would ask, how many of us have been driven to distraction in the last, say, 2.5 years by our fellow Jews? How many of us have had a real challenge loving some of our fellow Jews? You know, those Jews, the ones you blocked on Facebook because you just can't stand to see the things they're saying about that issue. You're commanded to love them, hard though it may be. And this is actually where the fact that it's not about how you feel, but about what you do, I think is quite helpful. Because what that love looks like in practice is not some kind of, airy-fairy, warm, fuzzy bypassing of the deep differences you may have with those Jews. But it's putting aside those differences when someone gets sick and visiting them in the hospital, or taking them soup when they have a loved one who's in the hospital and they haven't been able to cook or shower for days. It's putting aside those differences and celebrating each other's simchas with joy, with genuine joy. It is showing up at the funeral and the shiva. It is supporting our people in need, even though they might not count you in a minyan or consider your rabbi a rabbi. Right? And this one's important. This is part of practicing love for your fellow Jews is tochacha, the practice of giving one another compassionate critique. The commandment to love your neighbor, by the way, in Leviticus, is preceded by the commandment to tell your neighbor, your countrymen, when you feel like they are missing the mark in a loving way. And so this week, one of the things that I was thinking about was how powerful it can be to have direct and kind communication with people in your world, your neighbor, your fellow Jews, the people you share a community with, so that everybody can get better. And so I want to give big props to a Mishkan teen who this past week gave us a little bit of tochacha, loving critique. And instead of seething with rage, right, instead of running around spreading rumors and negative vibes, They decided to send a thoughtful email which began and ended from the presumption of positive intent and of mutual care, and the assumption that like this wasn't the intention, but here's, how it struck me. And when the giver of tochacha speaks from a place of love, it is so much easier for the receiver to take that feedback and actually address the problem instead of feeling defensive. This, loving your neighbor, your fellow Jew, takes a lifetime of practice, and most of us don't get it right. Okay, here's the next question. You want to give yourself a grade 1 to 5 on this one? Loving your neighbor as yourself, i.e. how much you love, how much capacity you have to love and practice the actions that demonstrate love for your fellow Jews. 1 to 5. Put it out there. I would say I'm also at about a 3.1. I would like to be at a 5. I'd like to be at a 4.8. But I feel like I'm at a 3.1, maybe even like a 2.9, Curious to know where you are. Okay, but let's go on. Because sometimes it's actually easier to sympathize with your own people, right? The people who look like you or talk like you or worship like you. And sometimes we don't need to be reminded to, inherently side, for example, with our own people. But we do need to be reminded to love the people who don't look and speak and worship like me and you. The people who are strangers, right? Ve'ahavta et hager. You will love the stranger. And that includes the people who might even be considered your enemy. The Torah reminds us we owe them behavior that reflects decency, kindness, love. Not because it's how we feel about them. We don't know them. That's the point. They're a stranger. Rather, it's about doing the right thing. Loving the stranger is doing for the stranger anything that we would do for a brother. For people who aren't our people. It is care, it is advocacy, it is tzedakah, charity, particularly for the vulnerable people who don't share your identity, specifically who are not Jewish, including and especially when it is inconvenient and when we don't feel like it. The way a parent drops everything and shows up for their child in need. The way a parent scoops yogurt out of the container into a special bowl and mixes it despite the fact that they can't stand the smell or the sight or the consistency of it. We can and are invited and told to do this level of care for strangers. Ve'ahavta et hager. So I'm kind of coming to a close here. You can keep the strictest form of kosher. You can be the most shomer Shabbat. But if you don't demonstrate a love of people, our people in general, you are missing the entire point of Torah. Right? And when puzzling over a section of Torah that's really challenging and you can't figure out what it's saying, chances are there is an invitation in there asking, who do you need to love more? God? The tradition? The stranger? Your fellow Jew? Someone in your family? Someone in your community? What will that love look like? How will you practice it? How will you put it into work? So I want to close with one of my favorite bits of gematria, Jewish numerology. God's ineffable name, the name you can't say, but the 4-letter name of God in Hebrew is Yud, He, Vav, He, whose value, if you add up the value of each letter, is 10 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5, 26. Now, Ahava is Aleph, He, Bet, He. 1 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5, which equals 13. It's interesting. Ahava is exactly half of God, right? Love. Love is half of God's unpronounceable name. So even if I just stopped there, I could ask you what you do with that, and I bet you'd have a beautiful answer. But what the rabbis of the Talmud did, the rabbis who created our daily prayer service, so they stuck the Shema right here, the affirmation of our belief in one uniting presence, one force we call God. Hear, O Israel, God is one. Yud He Vav He, 26. And on this side of the Shema, we put the prayer Ahava Rabbah, abundant love, which is about the love that we receive from our parents, from our tradition, from God, 13. And on this side of the Shema, they put Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, and you will love, about the love that we give back as we walk around the world, as we sit in our home, when we lie down, when we rise up. 13, 13. So what I take from that is like love in, love out is what it means for us to know God, to be godly, to be God's eyes and ears and hands in this world. Which is really important because not everybody can discern the mysteries of the universe in a blade of grass, like Maimonides could. But we can all do a shift to the food pantry. Not everybody can or wants to keep strictly kosher, but we could all show up at the Shiva. Not everyone can be as involved or donate as much as, the biggest philanthropists who uphold the Jewish community, whose names appear in the pamphlet. But we can aspire, and they can actually inspire us to do more. And there is no shortage right now for us to practice love for our people, right? There's a lot of invective and hatred flowing in and among our people. We don't have to participate in it. You don't have to. You can transcend it. You can decide to love instead. It doesn't mean you abandon your disagreements. It means you have them from a starting place of love and respect. And we can love strangers and the most vulnerable. Our portal, all these people are our portal into knowing and loving God in one another. And in this world of ours, that love is the most basic expression of what it means to be Jewish and is needed now more than ever. So I want to bless you tonight, and I want to bless myself that we just really take and hold the ahava, the love that is our inheritance, and we breathe into it, and we breathe it out, and we take it with us, and we share it wherever we go. Amen. And I think now I'm going to do a little love prayer from the evening service here, if that's okay with you. This is Ahavat Olam. This is the one that comes right before the Shema in the evening. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadata. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, B'shochbeinu uv'kumeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, Uv'mitzvotecha, Le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayinu ve'orech yameinu, ve'orech yameinu, Uvehem negei yomam ve'layla, yomam ve'layla. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. And now that we've done a little bit of learning together, let's take a moment to remember those who have come before us, who have passed their love on to us. If you want to share who it is you might be remembering tonight, we will do Mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom, and then we'll close out our service here. Yehi zichronam livracha. May all of their memories be blessings. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei rabah. Be'alma divrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei b'chayachon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael b'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabah mevorach le'olam ulal me'almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechmata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlam araba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Useh shalom b'imramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oh, say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oh, say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Lots of love, everybody. Good night, and hopefully see you tomorrow morning for a very exciting bar mitzvah. Good Shabbos.